Rick Dalton?
Yeah, that's me.
If you've watched Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you probably remember the last conversation that we hear the character of Sharon Tate have, if for no other reason than because it's the last scene of the movie. But do you remember her first conversation? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tyler. I am the Upstart Critic, and let's just jump right. As played by Margot Robbie, Sharon Tate's natural charm, easygoing, and fun-loving charisma are splashed in sunny broad strokes across the nearly 3-hour runtime of the film. And despite her notoriously limited screen time, the character contributes a great deal to both the immediate and overall lasting effects of the movie. But the character of Sharon Tate is more important to the story than just adding tone. She's so much more than just a gimmicky, based-on-real-life centerpiece around which Tarantino crafts one of his uniquely distinct worlds. In fact, Sharon Tate is so important to the story that she is in control of the fate of the character of Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's specifically because of who she is.
That's me.
And we see this when we take the first conversation that Sharon has and the last conversation that she has, and we hold them next to each other. These conversations mirror each other. Check this out. That first conversation that Sharon has, you may not even have heard it happen. I'd watched this movie like 3 or 4 times before I even paid any attention to the dialogue. And to be clear, I'm not talking about when Sharon tells her dog, Dr. Saperstein, that she missed it on the flight home at the airport. Those are just the first words that we hear her say. No, the first conversation that Sharon can be heard having is when she and the Roman Polanski character are arriving home from the airport. It's a scene intercut with a conversation that Rick is having with Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt, as they sit in Rick's car, in Rick's driveway, right next door to Sharon's house. Sharon and Roman are talking as they pull up to their front gate. And this conversation is way more important than it seems, because this could just be some throwaway dialogue, like Sharon and Roman are driving through the Hollywood Hills talking about cheeseburgers and pop culture from 1969. But it's not. Sharon is actually saying something here, and it has bearing on not only her character, but on Rick's as well. So this first conversation between Sharon and Roman, it's not in the foreground, so it can be a little hard to hear, but if we turn on the subtitles, we can see that Sharon is telling Roman about a friend of hers that she does not intend to introduce to Roman. She says, "Tom, my friend."
I met him.
And Roman says, "I've met him?" And she says, "No, you haven't met him. What I'm saying is you're not going to meet him because I don't think you'd like him."
No, you haven't met him. What I'm saying is you're not going to meet him because I don't think you like him.
Why?
And Roman says, "Why not?" And Sharon says, "Well," and then they pull up to their gate. We cut over to Rick and Cliff, and Rick sees them. The gate opens, and Roman and Sharon drive up to their house. Now, this dialogue is really important for a couple of reasons. One, Sharon is saying this to Roman Polanski. At that time, in 1969, both in real life and in the movie, Roman Polanski is one of the hottest directors in Hollywood. As Rick tells us, he's just released Rosemary's Baby, which was a huge hit. So everybody wanted to know what Roman was going to do next. Everybody wanted to work with Roman Polanski. So at this point, Roman Polanski is in a position of great power in Hollywood. And Sharon Tate at this time was in a unique position to be whispering into the ear of Roman Polanski. And he listens to her. And so by the transitive property, this gives Sharon power. And it's right at this moment that Rick Dalton, just a few feet away, is sitting in his car at one of his lowest moments, thinking that his acting career is over, that his life is over.
It's official, old buddy. Well, it has been.
And he looks over and he sees Sharon and Roman sitting in their car. And here's the other reason number 2, that this tiny little conversation is so important, because it ties directly into that last conversation that we hear Sharon having with Rick. And it helps to describe or track Rick's arc throughout the film. So if we jump forward to that last conversation again, Sharon is talking to Rick through the intercom box in her driveway, and Rick is standing in pretty much the exact same spot that Sharon and Roman were parked waiting for the gate to open. Just inside the gate is Sharon's friend, Jay Sebring, played by Emile Hirsch. Sharon asks Rick if everybody is okay after the climax of the movie, and Rick says yes.
Is everybody okay?
Yes, Sharon, everybody's fine.
Rick is standing here at the gate, having survived, having slain the dragon. And Margot Robbie's voice as Sharon Tate, so clear and melodic. It's this disembodied voice coming through this intercom box as though from on high, from a different realm.
Are you okay?
Well, yes, I am. Thank you for asking that.
And then she says this.
Rick, would you like to come up to the house for a drink and meet my other friends?
This is the one line of dialogue that ties all of this together. She invites Rick into her home for a drink and to meet my other friends, presumably including Roman Polanski. Jay gives Rick the thumbs up and Rick has made it. And Sharon literally opens the gate for Rick Dalton's character. Okay, so she probably presses a button, but Sharon figuratively, literally opens the gate for the Rick Dalton character. And the gate swings open and some music that at first sounds like the Godfather waltz plays, and Rick has passed. He gets to continue on to the next realm, to the next plane, and he's made it. So what we've got here with Sharon Tate's dialogue are bookended conversations that mirror each other with a single word: friends. In that first conversation, Sharon reveals her power in Hollywood by not accepting into her inner circle one of her friends. And in the last conversation, she again wields that power, this time though, welcoming our hero, Rick Dalton, into that inner circle, thereby proving Rick's worthiness. But this feels like more than just a professional victory for Rick, because Sharon is not just in a position of power in Hollywood at this point. She is a powerful source of light and goodness. So for her to accept Rick into her circle of friends speaks as much for Rick Dalton's character as it does his profession or his talent. So Sharon Tate could be described kindly as a bit of a gatekeeper here.
So funny.
And this is what I wanted to say about how that little bit of dialogue in the first conversation with Sharon Tate in the car reveals how much care Tarantino took when writing the character of Sharon Tate. Because I believe that with a less talented writer, a more cynical writer, a more careless writer, could have had Sharon Tate coming across as a gossipy, disloyal, gatekeeping friend in this scene, just trying to protect her interests with Roman Polanski. But it doesn't come across that way because of Tarantino's sensitive dialogue. This is also a tremendous testament to Margot Robbie's talent for nuance and tone, because again, she could have been playing this superficially, because Sharon is about to tell Roman some qualities about a friend of hers that she believes he would find unappealing. And most beautifully of all, Margot Robbie infuses Sharon Tate with a woefully underappreciated, maybe forgotten human quality of the modern society: grace. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe.